To make the most of your activities, you can track call and meeting types as well as call outcomes. All of these things will allow you to better understand the activities that are happening with your sales team and also power some workflows as far as follow-up behaviors and tasks and things you can do automatically. So let's dive in and check it out.
Welcome to HubSpot Hacks, where we help you get more out of HubSpot.
Here inside of the HubSpot settings, if you navigate over to the left-hand side and go to Objects, under the Objects menu, we've got this activity. So click on that here, and you're gonna see if you don't have this checked here, you're gonna need to check this box. But here's where we have call and meeting types. Now, by default, you most likely don't have any meeting types in here. So if I click on Edit Options, it's gonna allow me to add some types. So I'll give you some examples. You might have a discovery call. In our case, we have a free consultation call. And what we do with that consultation call is if that meeting link is used and actually created here, then we set it to have a workflow to automatically create a deal. Because if someone's in a consult with us, there's a good chance they're going to be an opportunity. So let's actually create that here and see what that looks like. So we're going to call this free consultation. I'm going to click on Save. So right now, this is the only thing that we have in our meeting types. If I wanted to track meeting outcomes, that would be what happens after a call. In this case, we've got some preloaded options here: scheduled, completed, rescheduled. In this case, I'd like to say left a voicemail. So I'm gonna say left a voicemail here, and we'll click on Save. Now those are gonna be the meeting outcomes. And the important thing here is you need to think about what you want to know at the end of all of this activity. So for example, if I had reps making calls, let's say they made 50 calls a day, and I want to run a report on what the call outcome of those were. How many of those were voicemails? How many of those were connected? How many of those were no-shows? All of those things are going to be possible by using using the outcomes. And then the call and meeting types are going to give you the exact type of call that it's going to be, or type of meeting that it's going to be. And then you've got those outcomes. So let's take a fictitious example here and say, I want to automate some activity based on an outcome of a meeting. So if I go into workflows, and I want to say this is a context-based workflows, and I'm going to set up a trigger. So for a trigger here, I've got activity properties, and let's look for that outcome that we just talked about. So out of the meeting outcome, we've got it was completed. Fantastic. So this might be a catch-all, and in fact, this probably isn't very helpful, but let's say there was a certain type of meeting, and a completed meeting means the next stage, we need to have a follow-up task scheduled. We could do that automatically here in the system by using a workflow. Now let's go back and actually use call outcome. So let's say anytime we have a call outcome and we select it that we left a voicemail, then we've got left voicemail here, and then we're going to say apply and save. Now, whoever gets entered into this workflow here is because that contact was marked as left a voicemail on their call outcome. And then we could say, let's go ahead and we want to maybe send them a follow-up email. We can do all of those things here just like you do in regular workflows. Watch our workflows video if you have any questions, but all that's here powered by those meeting and call outcomes. Now let's go take a look at a contact record to see how this actually happens when you're in the contact record making those calls. Inside of this HubSpot contact record, you're gonna see that we've got a couple of options. If we want to log a call, we can do that here. So I'm gonna go to calls and I can click log a call. Now this is where that call outcome comes in. So again, if I say I contacted this contact and the outcome was, you know what, I left a voicemail, the call type was, and those were all those call types are going to show up. So again, I loaded some additional ones since I showed you just before, but let's say that all of these here, it was a cold call and I left a voicemail and the call direction was outbound. All right, so using those workflows, it might mean that I automatically get a follow-up task to then connect with this person again, or they get enrolled into a sequence. Again, whatever those things happen to be, you can power those through your workflows through those contact-based triggers. So if I actually then say, I'm going to save this and log this activity. Great, I've logged the activity, and then I can also add a comment in here if I wanted to in terms of like what we talked about. So if I wanted to log a meeting, and let's say I'm going to log a meeting here, again, we're gonna look at that meeting outcome. We're gonna select the meeting type, it was a free consultation call, so on and so forth. So you can see how these properties become really valuable when you think with the end in mind. What do I want to be able to segment my activity type by, and then work your way backwards to architect that on the front end and train your staff to use, again, those properties to make sure that you have accurate data in the end. Now, the piece that is individual to each organization is going to be the ability to report on that information. Custom reporting on the activity types is available in Enterprise, not so much in Pro. You can do a little bit, but if you want that custom report based on all of those different types, you can certainly do that in Sales Enterprise. Now, the last piece to keep in mind here is linking this with your meeting links. This is the beauty, all right? So if you haven't been convinced yet, this is where we're gonna go. Now, if I go to Sales and I'm looking at the meeting types, and you can have as many meeting types as you want. There's a limit to it, but it's thousands if you get up into the Sales Enterprise, hundreds if you get into the Sales Pro, but if you have that many links, you might need to talk to me about a little bit of organization. But here we've actually got a meeting type, so I'm gonna create a scheduling page. We're gonna do a one-on-one scheduler, and we're just gonna call this free consult. And again, this is the name internally. We're creating a meeting link or a scheduling link in this example, but I'm gonna show you why it matters here in a second. So the event title, this is what's gonna come through to someone when they book a meeting with me. So it's meeting with, and we'll use a contact token. So we'll say first name and Ali Schwanke. Perfect. All right, location, we're going to link this with Zoom. So in a different video, we showed you how to link Zoom and HubSpot together, but this makes it easy to get them a Zoom link right when they book on my meeting link. I want to make it possible for them to cancel and reschedule. And then here, this is where it comes in. This is amazing. So we've got our meeting type right here on our meeting link. So this means that if you have a consultation link and that's the only thing you use it for, and you set this as a meeting type of consultation call, you will always have that call marked as consultation call. And then again, back to my previous example, this is where we use on our team, when someone uses that link, it's marked as a consultation call, and then a workflow automatically powers that over into a deal. So our team is aware and on top of all those meetings that had potential opportunities with budget, time, and authority established on them. So that's it. That's how to use call and meeting types, and a little hint here with that meeting link. For more tips, tricks, and how-tos, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next week.